Very important points here. They're taking away the attention from what's really going on, which is the Vanzen sham scam. Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Shashti Flo, and here on my channel I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood working as an entertainment reporter, and as you know, a lot about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal feud. So there's so much shady stuff going on right now. Yesterday, I was just shaking my head. I can't, I mean, this can't be happening. This is so funny, so embarrassing, and so just absurd to me. Okay, so remember yesterday I spoke about the Vanzen sham lawsuit, and that is getting out of hand now, and it looks really bad for Blake Lively's team after Ryan Reynolds came out and said that, oh, I'm the CEO of the sham shell company that filed that sham lawsuit that ended up with them getting their hands of Jennifer Abel's phone and giving all the text messages to New York Times and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, as I said yesterday as well, now that there's all this attention on this sham company or this shell company and this sham lawsuit, they're trying everything they can to divert our attention to something else. So what Blake Lively did yesterday was launching a new iced tea, vodka iced tea, with one of her ex-co-stars from Gossip Girl. They were sitting on a bench and she was feeding her co-star some vodka while she obviously wasn't drinking herself. And also yesterday, this is so crazy, TMZ published a story saying that 3 content creators have been subpoenaed by Blake Lively's team. These are Candace Owens, Perez Hilton, and Andy Signore from Popcorn Planet. Okay. First of all, these 3 people didn't know that they were being subpoenaed until TMZ contacted them for comments. And everything that happened from there is just so insane. So TMZ contacted Candace Owens, Perez Hilton, and Andy Signore and asked them, what do you think about this? And after TMZ reached out for comment, the 3 of them had 6 minutes to respond before they actually published the story. So TMZ wrote in the story that they hadn't successfully been able to contact these people for comments. Anyways, that's one thing. Another thing is the headline that TMZ chose, which I think is so suspicious here. The headline says, exclusive Blake Lively, Perez Hilton, Candace Owens subpoenaed, working with Baldoni, question mark, working with Baldoni. As you know, 80% of people only read headlines. So now they've planted the seed that these creators are working with Baldoni. So this is a complete PR scheme that they're now doing, trying to discredit content creators that have been speaking about them, and at the same time, create some kind of fear amongst content creators that, oh, if you talk about them, you could get subpoenaed. Thankfully, all these 3 people are not scared, so they went straight to YouTube and live streamed about this. And I was watching Candace Owens as she was talking about it, how she responded, I think, or her spokesperson responded after like 12 minutes, which was 6 minutes too late. But then she did come out with a statement saying that, given the fact that I had not received any subpoena yet, I appreciate Blake's team leaking this to TMZ to alert me to it. Very good point. So Blake Lively's team here is using the same strategy as they're accusing Baldoni's team of doing the entire time. So they're saying, oh, this is just a PR game, going straight to the press. Hello, that's exactly what they're doing here. And they're weaponizing TMZ, using them to discredit creators by this headline, working with Baldoni. I think that is so outrageous that TMZ put that headline there. And I was looking at their Instagram where they posted about this, and there were 500 comments, and everyone was like, are you paid by Blake Lively's team? It does look like that, I have to say. It really looks like that. Why did Blake Lively's team plant this already in TMZ before the people that were going to be subpoenaed even knew about it? They're ahead of the story. They're ahead of the narrative. They're creating this narrative now. And very important points here, they're taking away the attention from what's really going on, which is the Vanzen sham scam. Now, if you're Googling something about Blake Lively and subpoena, you might get these guys up. you might get only this story up. You won't get anything about the Vanzen subpoenas, which is the real story here of what's going on. And I'm going to talk more about that later in this episode because there's more developments here, you guys, and it's really getting to a point where this could turn into a criminal case. People magazine also picked this up. They chose a different headline, which I find interesting because I've been saying before that I feel like People magazine is in Blake Lively's pocket, and they have been until a certain point when Taylor Swift got involved. They had a little more of a distance there. And now I find this headline to be decent. They're saying Blake Lively subpoenas Perez Hilton and Candace Owens in effort to prove Justin Baldoni's alleged smear campaign. That's exactly what this is about. It's an effort to prove that there was a smear campaign. The Wrap is doing something similar. They're saying Blake Lively subpoenas Perez Hilton, Candace Owens in Justin Baldoni legal battle. YouTuber Andy Signore was also dragged into it, and Svida Star's attempts to prove a smear campaign. This attempt to prove this smear campaign, I mean, I've been a victim of that too, as you know, because they pointed at me in that New York Times article where Blake Lively, her first like hit piece on Justin Baldoni, where her whole CRD complaint was reported about. I was also mentioned, as you know, in that article, and they were insinuating so strongly that I was working with Justin Baldoni's team that a lot of people believed it. And my entire like comment section on YouTube, I got Instagram messages, emails, everyone was like hating on me because they were like, oh, we trusted you, you work with them, just because it was printed in the New York Times. And that's exactly what they're trying to do now by discrediting these three creators, saying that, hey, there's a link here with Baldoni's team. They already sown that seed now, so people start believing that. And also, they're trying to scare people. They're trying to scare other creators not to talk about this. So Candace Owens was live yesterday speaking about this, and she showed even her phone live and searched on her phone to find out what she had been talking about Blake Lively last year. And she only found that she did one episode about Blake Lively last year, which was after I had released my interview with Blake Lively.
One solitary episode for all of 2024 that I spoke about Blake Lively. And it is from August 20th, 2024, when her interview with that journalist, Kirsten Flaw, was going viral. And she treated this journalist like absolute crap. I'll show you the clip that we covered with the rest of the world.
So in 2024, she only spoke about Blake Lively once, and that was when she was reporting on my interview. Andy Signore was commenting on that too, actually, because I remember I was interviewed by Andy when I posted that interview.
If she had just apologized to Kirsty, that journalist, I think all this would have gone away. It's ironic too, because Anne Hathaway was also called out, apologized, and everybody moved on. And if Blake had just accepted that she looked awful in that junket and actually called her, and we've talked about it in the doc, Kirsty is in the doc, her partner, a lot of people, and everybody points to that point, Ron, as where it all went south for her. And I think if she had actually had a good PR person to invite Kirsty over and try to be nice and apologize and win her over, don't you think that would have changed all of this?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think he might be right. I think a lot of this would have calmed down, and Blake Lively could have repaired her reputation if she would have owned up to her mistakes, if she would have apologized to some people, including me, just to like show a face in the public that she has regrets and that she takes accountability. But she chose not to do that. I think also it's very suspicious that they didn't subpoena me. Why wouldn't they subpoena me? They already said that they think I had something to do with it. I was in all the subpoenas that was sent to Justin Baldoni's team and Wayfarer, and I was mentioned in the New York Times article, and I was mentioned in the lawsuit, but they chose not to subpoena me. Does that mean that they now know that I had nothing to do with it? I think so, because they have subpoenaed all these people and no one has shown any communication with me. So this looks really terrible for the New York Times, who insinuated that in their article. And also, New York Times never reached out to me for a comment. I was the only person that was talked about in that article that never got a chance to defend myself. So I think New York Times actually owes me an apology. I'm never going to get that, but I do think that they should have done that. I know they don't want the liability and whatever, but I think it's terrible what they did. And I think it's terrible what the TMZ just did to these creators. I also think the fact that TMZ doesn't have bylines, it's all everything that they have is written by TMZ staff. That is not journalism. No one wants to take responsibility for writing these stories, so they're just putting staff. It's obvious that the guy who runs this company is a lawyer. Yeah, so isn't it funny that they're accusing everyone who reported on my interview for being a part of the smear campaign? All the media outlets was reporting on it too. I was interviewed everywhere in regards to that interview, but instead they're attacking the independents who are actually being honest in their reporting. Will this scare up other creators to talk about this? Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to continue talking about it. That's for sure. Okay, so on top of this, Blake Lively just hired a new attorney as well. Her name is Kristen Bender, and she's a Washington, D.C. based attorney. So she had to write a letter to the judge to accept her for this case. She also works for Wilkie Farr and Gallagher LLP. The more lawyers they're involving in this, the more it looks like they're in real trouble. And also, something very revealing here. Vanzen just hired another attorney. Her name is Margarita K. O'Donnell, and she's a top tier white collar criminal defense attorney. You don't hire someone like her unless you are preparing for some criminal questions like wire fraud, conspiracy, or maybe even obstruction. So O'Donnell is not just a general litigator. She's known for defending clients under the Department of Justice and investigations by Securities and Exchange Commission. She's been handling cases with fraud, conspiracy, and obstruction cases, money laundering, shell entities, and foreign financial structures. So on top of bringing her in, they also have this issue with the Daily Mail reporter, James Fitushka, remember him, who is about to withdraw his sworn statement. So if all of this is true and he was pressured to sign a false statement, that is really serious. That is like prison time. I'm sure that's not going to happen here, but these are serious things. If you knowingly lie under oath or you're pressured to lie under oath, you need a good attorney. So the fact that they're lawyering up like this means something big is coming. I can't wait for this. So remember, the deadline for Justin Baldoni to appeal his case is July 9th. Yeah, so I think a lot of things are about to come out and it's looking terrible. And as you know, Ryan Reynolds just put his name as the CEO on this Vanzen company that's in deep trouble. I saw this video with Ryan Reynolds being interviewed yesterday on CBS because he was now announced to be an officer of the Order of Canada. So getting this honor signifies that an individual has demonstrated achievement and merit of high degree, especially service to Canada or to humanity at large. Humanity at large. Okay. Anyways, so watching this interview with Ryan Reynolds, it's not about what he's saying here, but his body language. And you can see the tension in his body. I've never seen him this nervous before. It's like you see that his mind is going like this and it's completely somewhere else the whole time while he's talking to this reporter. He is just so freaking stressed out, which he should be. Also, it's interesting that they did choose to close off the comment section on this interview as well. They're giving this honor to someone who's so disliked that they can't keep the comment section open, so people can't congratulate him or share their opinions about him. Also, Hugh Jackman is not doing great. He just had to cancel his Hyde Park concert, which was due on July 6th. And he just said that it was an unforeseen conflict in my schedule. I think Hugh Jackman is so stressed out that he can't even be in public right now. He's going through so much with that divorce. He's getting so much backlash for the way he treated Deborah Lee Furness. And also the fact that he's been dragged into this. I'm sure he's been subpoenaed already. And I'm sure he's been asked about all these things and how much he knew about these things. And he just wants to run and hide. And yeah, you can't hide in Hyde Park. So I think he's just deciding not to go because nothing just shows up like that. Oh, it's a unforeseen conflict in my schedule. That doesn't sound right. This is something that you planned for so long. And if someone is saying like, oh, you need to be on a photo shoot, you don't cancel this for that. You cancel this either if you have to be available for a subpoena or if you don't want to do it. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And thanks for sending me all the tips. I haven't been able to go through all my emails today. There's a lot, and I really appreciate it. I will get back to everyone as I always do. And I promise to keep you updated on all of this. I'm on top of things. I'm always online looking what's happening. So I will keep you posted as soon as something happens. And yeah, so subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Awesome Talk. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.